Well, our next speaker, if I was to read the bio that they presented to me, we would be here all night. He has served for 33 years. And the people of Diego Martin Northeast are also proud of their very own. He has served in many capacities in the cabinet, and in the party he has served as deputy political leader as well as chairman, a man that stands as a mentor for us young members of parliament, a man that is an example for many. Please put your hands together for the Honorable Colm Imbert.
Good evening. You're supposed to play the whole song, eh? So I could say, I feel like Hulk. That is Black song. I feel like Hulk. Like Hulk. All right. I trust our political leader of the opposition will be with us very soon, the Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson. We have here our deputy political leaders, our chairman, our vice chairman, our lady vice chairman, our general secretary, our youthful MP for Laventille West, and our equally youthful MP, your MP for Laventille East Morvant, and so many others. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, I'm going to be very peaceful and polite tonight. Eh? You know, I'm a very polite, diplomatic, quiet kind of fella. Eh? But I was listening to the chairman of Summer Laventille, Richard Walcott. I listened to Kareem. And I listened to Christian. And there's an underlying message inside all of this. They are not sending any money to the corporations. They are not paying salaries. Just a short while ago, last week, I believe, daily paid workers in the San Fernando Corporation were supposed to get paid. They didn't get paid. MTS workers not getting their proper payments. Workers in the regional health authorities not getting their money. And I will explain why all of this is going on in a little while. But you heard one of the speakers refer to the way they got rid of the governor of the central bank. And it's something very unusual going on in Trinidad and Tobago this round. Because we had a UNC government in 95 to 2001, 2010 to 2015, and they were bad. But not like this group. I have never seen this kind of behavior. Never. I took a look at the story about the dismissal of the governor of the central bank. Most amazing thing I ever see. According to his pre-action protocol letter, which he has sent to the government, where he's claiming $9.8 million for his wrongful dismissal, I just can't believe what I read. A PNM turncoat, now a UNC stooge, and I'm not afraid to call him that, because if you do it once, okay, you're stupid. If you do it twice, it's a habit. So, Minister Swarat Singh, it is said in this pre-action letter, went to see the governor of the central bank, Dr. Hilaire, and told him, resign and we will pay you the balance of your contract. Dr. Hilaire said, look, I need to get advice on this, yes? So, according to this letter, he was told, here now, if you don't resign, we will fire you, you know. Well, of course, this is all kind of unbelievable because this is just happening in one afternoon. Eh? He starts to query it. A couple hours later, they just go to him and say, here, you're fired. Just like that. Same Swarat Singh. Look at what happened to the CEO of First Citizens Bank. And this is why I'm saying it's a habit. According to an article by a UNC sympathizer, Miss Anna Ramdas, in the Express, I'm not afraid to say that, UNC sympathizer. She wrote as follows on August 26. The Express understands that Darbesi was asked to resign, which prompted her to write several letters to Finance Minister Tanku and Minister of Planning Swarat Singh, including one on August 19, proposing that she go on vacation leave for 2 weeks to facilitate the transition to the CEO designate, because they had already selected the person to replace her. She was due to retire in 2024. That is when she reached the age of 60, the normal age. But they told her, stay on until 2026. Give us 2 years. And during that period, you will groom your successor, and then you'll smoothly move out, and he will move in. They tell her, resign. She said, well, what is that? She said, well, I will go and leave, and then I'll come back and see what we're going to do. They said, no, resign. That's all in this article. Her letter where she said, look, I'd prefer to go on leave, and when I come back, I will deal with the transition. It was rejected. What happened after that? That is it. She gone. It's the same Swarat Singh, the same man who put into the papers that the lady resigned. She didn't resign, she retired. The lady had already reached retirement age. But they put a fake story in the papers saying she resigned, causing now the lady to come and say, correct the record. I never resigned. I retired because I had passed retirement age already. Same Swarat Singh. That's what I say. It's not a mistake. It's a habit. And I understand in every state enterprise, in every statutory authority, everybody is being pressured to resign. In ministries, people are coming to work, and as they arrive, they get a letter. Go now. And you have 1 hour to pack your belongings and leave the building, and then they're escorted out by security. That's what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago today. That's what I'm telling you. This is the worst I have ever seen. Pandey was bad enough. Kamala in her first incarnation was bad enough, but this is the worst. And there's more to come. You know why they haven't hired any new CEPEP contractors? It's not just the lawsuit that Marcel and them giving them pressure with. It's money. They have no money. The government is broke. And I'm going to read now from a cabinet minute, which is dated 7th of August 2025. And this cabinet minute was not given to me by somebody in the Ministry of Finance. It came from somewhere else. Let them figure it out. This is cabinet minute August 7th, 2025. And the heading is approval for the transfer of funds held in escrow for 16 government guaranteed loans to the Treasury to assist government with funding for the remainder of the fiscal year 2025. Now, after August 7th, it's less than 2 months ago to the end of the year. Let me tell you what's going on here. We as a PNM government, over the years, from 2017, 2018, 2019, coming all the way up to 2025, we recognize that the UNC had left the country in such a mess that many of the state enterprises couldn't manage what burdens they had been given. MTS is an example. The UNC government signed 100 contracts for school construction just before it went out of office in 2015. To finish those schools would have cost $3 billion. They didn't raise 3 cents. So one of the things we had to struggle with over the last 10 years is how to complete all of those school projects. So we took out a series of loans for MTS to finish the schools. I'm going to read this for you now. The matter for the consideration of Cabinet is the approval for transfer of funds held in accounts for 16 government-guaranteed loans executed by state enterprises. And it goes on to list all the loans. There's a loan of $200 million for the Rural Development Company, a loan of $500 million for the National Insurance Property Development Company. Now, the $200 million for rural development was to do a series of projects throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Box drain, retaining wall, landslip repair, footpath, critically needed projects in every community in Trinidad and Tobago. This money was raised, $200 million. Small projects, community projects. The NIPDEC loan for $500 million for the program for upgrading roads efficiency. That is all the road paving programs of the government. The MTS loans were to construct schools. There were a series of MTS loans. Then you had a loan for NEDCO, the National Entrepreneurship Development Company Limited, which was under the Honorable Foster Cummins. That was $50 million to implement and administer the micro and small business grant scheme, to start the Empowered Connect project, and for loans across NEDCO's branch network. Then you had a loan for Palo Seco Agricultural Enterprises, $200 million. You know what that was for? That was to build serviced building lots for former Petrotrin workers in South Trinidad. Former Caroni workers got land. It was to give former Petrotrin workers land. That's what that loan was all about. They had a loan for the Land Settlement Agency to build the Housing and Village Improvement Program. Some of you may be aware of this program. This was a very innovative PNM program where you take somebody who's living in a shack, in a board house, and you build a brand new concrete structure for them free of charge. A very innovative PNM program. There was a loan of $150 million for that. The Water and Sewage Authority always hand them out, owing contractors almost $1 billion. Can't buy materials. There was a loan of $350 million for WASA, plus inside of there, a loan to do critical pipeline and pump replacement projects. HTC, we had a loan of $200 million to deal with outstanding bills and to continue the HTC program to give people houses, affordable houses. All of these loans had a purpose. The purpose was to pay off bills owed to contractors, continue critical government programs, housing, road paving, school construction, school maintenance. That is what all these loans were for. Look at what these, I don't know what to call them. Christian call them a name. I don't know what to call them. Let me call them demons. How about that? Look at what they do. Since they came in on April 28, they freeze all the loans. So ACC still owes money to all its contractors. ACC still have thousands of unfinished houses all over the country. Roads still need paving and patching. Contractors still need to be paid. Schools still need to be completed and built and repaired. They cancel all. They didn't spend 1 cent out of those loans. So I am not surprised at what Richard Walcott said, that they have given no money to the corporation for goods and services because they're doing that across the board. No money for MTS. No money for HTC. No money for the Ministry of Works. That is what they've been doing. And check what they do with this money. Hear this. They take all those loans. All of those loans had a purpose. $1.3 billion in total. They take all and they put it in Tanku bank account. That's what this loan is all about. Listen to this. And nobody wants to lend them money. Based on current liquidity levels, the government of Trinidad and Tobago's ability to easily or readily access funds on the domestic market has been severely constrained. That is technical language for the banks and want to lend them no money. And you really have to wonder whether the departure, the forced departure of the CEO of First Citizens Bank is because she didn't want to go over her limit. She didn't want to breach the central bank regulations. And they were demanding that she give them billions of dollars in money. And she couldn't do it. She'd have lost her job. You have to wonder if they told her to resign because she didn't want to break the central bank regulations. You have to wonder. But what this note is saying is that they can't borrow money. The banks don't want to give them any money. So they take the whole 1.3 billion, all the loans for school construction, housing construction, road paving, they take all the money and they put it into the government bank account. You know what for? To deal with a critical shortfall of money for the remaining 2 months of the year. Now let me break this down for you. If the banks don't want to lend them any money, what causing that? Is that the banks have no confidence in them? If you have all these financing arrangements for all these state enterprises that are critically needed, I told you WASA owes 900 million, almost $1 billion, to contractors for all the projects that WASA has done. How are they paying that? MTS owes hundreds of millions of dollars for school construction. How are they paying that? HTC owes hundreds of millions of dollars for housing construction. How are they paying that? They suck out all the money that the PNM government had made available to all these state enterprises to deal with all of these matters. And they put it in the bank account. You know what to do with? Just to try and pay salaries in August and September. I know what this tells me. The government is broke. The government has no money. So I am not surprised that they're not giving you money for goods and services. I am not surprised that they're not paying salaries because I know they're incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have a clue. But they're not that stupid. It means, is this the arrival of Miss Beckles coming now? Let's hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, PNM people, I want you to get on your feet as we welcome our political leader, the first female political leader of the People's National Movement, our opposition leader, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the member of Parliament from Riva, Penelope Beckles Robinson.
Good evening, my political leader. I'm going to start over. You know, the whole point of what I was just saying, that they've taken critically needed money from every state enterprise and they put it in the government bank account to try and meet inescapable expenditure, what they call mandatory payments, which is old age pension, salaries and wages, debt service payments, and so on. They just can't manage. You saw that TikTok going around, or the video going around with the old lady saying, "We give you the country to manage, well, manage it now." Only wants to see that. But they can't. They can't. And you know, this is the fourth time I in opposition, eh? Fourth time. I went into opposition in 95. We went back in opposition in 2000. Well, after about 9 months, people couldn't take it no more. They mashed up the Pandey government and we came back in 2001, the famous 1818. Then we went back in 2010 for the third time. This is now the fourth time. And you know, we have a duty as PNM members to educate our people. Because I heard a story after election, well, people didn't understand what come in, eh? Because when they say, when UNC win, everybody win. There's a book called Animal Farm. And in that book, the pigs took over the farm and they threw the humans outside. And they said that they had 7 commandments. And the first commandment was, all animals are equal. And the second commandment was, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Well, by the time they finished with them, they changed the first commandment to, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. UNC do that in 1 week. When UNC win, everybody win. Well, all are we good? In 1 week, they change it up like how they changed the commandments in Animal Farm. All animals are equal, but some more equal than others. And you're seeing that. You're seeing that. They are only dealing with their own people. And with the second commandment, you know what happened to the pigs eventually? They started to walk on 2 legs. And when people look inside the farm, they couldn't tell the difference between the pigs and the humans that they throw outside. And that's what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago today. We're in a crazy place. We're in a bad place. Because the nonsense they're telling us, and they want us to believe it too. The foolishness that they talk every single day, and they expect us to believe it. But anyway, I was talking to one of my people after election. He said he went in the market. He's a farmer from Paramin. And he said a man in the market say, "You know what's wrong with all your PNM people? The PNM supporter." He said, "We just vote you in to fix the mess that the former government did. And then only forget about the people, so we just change you back. And then the next one come in and mash it up again. We just vote you back in to fix the mess, and then only forget about we just vote you out and bring them back in, and they mash up the place again." It's 4 times this going on. We have to do 2 things. We have to educate our people, and we also have to do better. Because why do our people feel that we forget about them? Why? And you know, people suffered through the UNC 2010 to 2015. They feel real pain, you know, and yet they come back and vote them again, and this time it's not pain. This time it's bloodshed. It's bloodshed. So I want you to understand what's going on. There are many things happening. The PNL has been sent into opposition 4 times. We have reinvented ourselves, rebuilt ourselves, come back stronger, and come back into government every single time. And we will. The next 5 years are going to be painful. This actually reminds me of the 1986 to 1991 period, when the NAR came in and they didn't have a clue. They didn't know what to do. They tried to cut public servant salary, they take away COLA, they stop Jude, all kind of thing they do. And they were destroyed in the 1991 election. They went from 33 to 2. This was what is going to happen to the UNC as well. They won't go down to 2, because they have a hardcore that don't care. Don't care what they do. They could do anything. They could put their father, their mother, their brother, their sister, their auntie, their son and daughter on a state board, and nobody ain't saying nothing. When you look in the papers, what do you see? Nobody's complaining about it. They could do anything. It's hard. But I want you to have hope. I want you to understand the PNM is a strong and resilient party. We have a new leader who I have absolutely no doubt will be the next Prime Minister. No doubt. And therefore, you're just going to have to wait. I'm sorry to tell you this, you got to wait. But we will win the next election. And what we need to do to them what we did to them in 2013. Because by 2013, the population had decided they had enough of Kamla. And we won the 2013 local government election convincingly. There's a local election due in 2026 or 27. Is it 27? They may change it up. They could do anything, you know. They have a majority. They could go to parliament. They could change anything. But whenever that local government election comes, I want you to send them a message that their days are numbered. And then we will show them that great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we will always prevail.